Okay, yeah, we're back again. We got cut off because we got to the end of the 40 minutes free. So we're back again. We'll just go for a few minutes more because I think actually that's probably not a bad time anyway. So I think we were just talking about the fact that my friend had worked out that this guy was ADHD or possibly ADHD or of that type, and he started dealing with the person differently. Which allowed them to improve their working relationship and get better results. So this is something I hear about in a lot of workplaces. Everybody needs to be treated the same.
Right. I see where it is different. Yeah, it sounds good that everyone should be treated the same, but not really.
Yeah.
Because everyone's different.
Exactly.
And when we talk about even different cultures, just even that, the attempt is the same, but sometimes what might offend somebody may not, may not offend somebody else, but might offend somebody. So no matter what, it just sounds good in principle, but when you actually apply it, it's a completely different story.
Yeah, exactly. So it'll be really interesting to speak to him. Fozzie is his nickname. He's a friend of a friend that I met at a stag do, very drunk, and then we met at this charity dinner. So, and his wife, actually, his partner, sorry, I don't think they're married yet. She works in HR, and they have a couple of people with Aspergers, and they actually have a charity who specialise in Aspergers and gives education on how Asperger's people are likely to be, how they react in certain situations. They don't. There was one example she gave about change.
Okay.
It came in. What happened was this: they changed the computers from single screens to dual split screens.
Oh wow! Okay.
And nobody had really been told. It was just like, there's going to be a change. You're going to come in, boom. Yeah, most people come in. What the hell, bloody hell? Okay, what do we do? The guy with Asperger's came in. Apparently, and Emily will say this if we can get her on an interview, freaked out totally, picked up the whole computer, threw it across the room.
Oh my God.
So you can imagine, almost grounds for gross misconduct and dismissal. Doesn't matter, don't care. He's vandalised, he's willingly, and he could have endangered somebody. Boom, boom, boom. He's got to go.
Wow.
And actually, and this was what the manager, I think apparently one of the managers was saying, he's got to go. We can't have that. But then when they spoke to the people who specialised in Asperger's, it's like, yeah, they hate change. So this is what you need to do, is to say 2 weeks beforehand, this is the change, this is what it's going to entail. And then gradually just keep filtering that information to him each day so that when the change actually happens, it's not a big shock for him.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah. And so there are all of these things that, and again, I suggest the same thing. There will be ways of being able to deal with an ADHD hunter type person, certain ways that will make their performance worse and certain ways that will make their performance better.
But in this case, I think the fact that one is a response, right? That was his response. Maybe he was able to stop himself from doing that or not, but this time it was a computer. What about if something else changed that, and then are they capable of doing like something violent, and possibly hurting somebody else?
Well, this is, and so this, I believe, will be the discussion. And what will happen is like, oh well, if he can do that, what else can he do? We need to get rid. But actually, he's very good at his job. He's superb at his job, and if we understand it, we know how to work around. Dogs can bite children, but how many people have dogs as pets? Because if you treat a dog in the right way, it's not going to have a reason to bite anyone unless it's really threatened. And this is what you have to understand, is that that person did that as some sort of survival response. It's a big threat. Now, I don't think any of us want to deliberately threaten anybody else.
Yeah, no, I get it.
And if we realize that's what we've done by doing that,
yeah, I mean, it's kind of tough. I'm looking at it from that perspective. Let's say they changed the coffee maker, right? You know, they went from, I don't know, from 12 cup to 24 cup. I don't know, whatever, right?
Yeah.
You know, maybe to someone it may not be a big change, a major change. Going from one screen to two screens may not be a big change, but for that person, maybe going from 12 cup to 24 cup is a major change, and then there'll be a reaction.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so it's going to be hard, you know, to always accommodate the person. It's always going to be a challenge.
But the part of the problem is, and I'm glad this, because this is almost like a bit of tension here. This is like, it's like, if we understand, then we know what's going to happen.
Yeah, but then what is the change? Is it like going from a pencil to a pen? You know what?
Well, and this is something. This is what you work out with people as you go along, isn't it? But the point is like so many people are again, maybe persecuted is the wrong word, but sometimes that's how strongly I feel about it, because they're not understood.
No, definitely, I get
that. That's a lack of basic education.
Yeah,
we are all human beings. And this is the thing, if we understand it, it's the easiest thing in the world to say that he should behave like this. I can say, going back to this person, like the child who disputes what they should do and says no to the adult, this is the classic. I've talked about this before, I think, on the podcast. Like, well, and the child that refuses to sit down. The child who does sit down is harming himself physically, him or herself, if they are prepared to do that for 8 hours a day, each day. They are just allowing long-term harm to happen because of an existing model. I was having this discussion with Lisa. It's like, there are rules and there are conventions in place, and there seems to be, from my point of view, there seems to be a set, like 3 broad groups in terms of when you're in a place and rules are imposed. There's obviously the imposers, that's a separate group, but the people having to deal with the rules, it's like, okay, these are the rules, we've just got to get on with it. Yeah, that's life, that's the way it is. And that's cool, you know. You've got at one end that, like, these are the rules and I love them and I think they're fantastic and I'm going to do my best to enforce them and help the people who set the rules and stuff like that. And then there's the people who don't like the rules,
right?
And don't think they're fair, and they want to fight against it, even though it makes their life worse. Yeah. Now, when you talk about it broadly speaking like that, it's really, really easy to turn around and say, well, you just got to get on with it, because why make your life more difficult? Blah blah blah. If you go to France during German occupation, the Nazis had invaded Germany, invaded France. You have the bulk of the French people who stuck their head down. The Germans with a strong force, right? We just need to get on with it. We hate it. We don't like it, but we're not gonna push it because they've got the force. You've got the collaborators, who are the people who are actually looking at what the Nazis are in, and they're looking mighty powerful. So I'm actually going to try and get in with them.
Right.
Yeah. And these were French people who think, I'm going to put all my eggs in with the Nazis. And then you've got the resistance. These are the guys who are saying, we don't want somebody occupying our country, and we're going to carry on fighting.
Right.
And we're gonna make sure, and that's gonna make our lives hell, but we're gonna do it.
Sure.
When you put a context around it, all of a sudden you start saying, well, actually, you know, sometimes people just need to act. What happened to the collaborators at the end of the war? You know, it wasn't a pretty sight.
Right.
Yeah. Their fellow French people turned on them big time.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying the office environment is that, but, you know, sitting in chairs. For me, I'm passionate about the fact that we shouldn't be sitting in chairs the whole time. So I will stand up in any business I'm in and say, let's get out the bloody chairs. Let's stop it. Let's do it. Well, there are lots of people I talk to. Well, that's just what they insist. And I'm saying, yeah, but how can they mess with our health?
Right.
But the other guys think, well, I just want to keep my job because I need to put my food at the end of the table. And we're both right and we're both wrong. and that's the.
Well, it's funny you say that, because at home now, for myself, I eat standing up. Like, what's wrong with you? Why don't you just sit down? Like, because I want to stand up. It feels good to stand up, walking around. I feel like I'm enjoying the food more. I feel like I'm much more engaged. It just feels good to. I enjoy standing up, eating my food. It's good. The same way with working. Yesterday I was working on a presentation, and I stood up, and when I looked at it, I'm like, wow, I've been standing up for like 5 hours, right? So and I felt good. I felt energetic. Mentally, everything was flowing. I was right into it. And then from there, when I needed to execute something, I did. And then it wasn't like I was sitting down and then like, trying to get up, like stretch and everything. I was fully engaged, and I feel like I get more out of it. So
and I think that's a really cool thing to mention. I think everybody could do with this, but the ADHD hunter type person, the kid in school, is the one who can't sit still, needs to fidget, needs to get up.
Right.
It may well be similar for a person in the workplace, or that their mind wanders or whatever, but to actually get these people working well, I believe that we have to find a way that allows them to do that. And it may be that they're not diagnosed or whatever, but if someone needs to move around, let them move, because actually when I start moving, ideas start flowing. I become more creative, and there is a physiological basis for this. When we move, we produce something called BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, and it's a chemical that's essential for creating neural connections. And it's theorized from an evolutionary perspective that this was very important in terms of hunting. Sorry, you just disappeared off my screen for a while there. It's really important in terms of hunting and remembering routes and animal movement patterns and things like that. So actually movement is a big part in terms of getting the brain to work.
Yeah.
So again, from making the most of the hunter type, is allow movement in their day. If it's a school kid, let them get up and move around. If it's an office worker, have a breakout room where they can go and chuck the ball in a hoop, or have a mat that they can do a couple of yoga moves on or whatever, and then they come back in. It doesn't have to be a full-on workout. They can go and do
it's funny you say that, because coming from the banking industry, when we used to go visit the hedge fund clients, the hedge funds, they had it all figured out. Their employees were there like 12, 14 hours, and they loved it. They have a gym, they can go play pool, they play paddleball, they're mentally engaged, they can actually go out there and have a beer and then come back, and then from there get to work. And meanwhile, even bringing food. So basically they stay in the office all day, right? But they enjoy it.
Yeah, exactly.
And they become more productive, right? They're really committed to their craft. And they get to work out and move around and have some fun.
And we're killing so many, killing birds with the stone. It's not a great analogy because I don't like killing things, but health, we know that more movement is better. Productivity, so the company does better. Everyone feels better about that. They enjoy their work, so fulfillment in the workplace.
Right.
Lack of fulfillment is, I think, a big part of the mental health problems. Anxiety, depression and stuff we're having. So, Simon Sinek's whole goal of turning around the 80% of people that are unfulfilled in the workplace to make them fulfilled will allow them to have a much bigger say in their working environment. As you've just said, these hedge funds, the startups, even the Googles and places like that, you hear about very innovative working practices. Exactly. And I think we're on the verge of doing this now. We've got the smart people, the innovators, the first movers on this who are starting all of this. And I think it will come eventually, but it will take a lot of persuading. But I think education has to move this way as well for me.
Well, just to mention it, I know we're a little bit over time, but you've heard of Kelly Stark? He's like so he has a mobility practice, and he's well known, and I've taken his course, Mobility 101, and excellent course, and learned more. It just basically it taught me that my body's like really messed up, right, from so many years.
Broken, yeah.
So that was the biggest education for me. And I always talk to other people about like, well, yeah, you got to work out. You know, nutrition is important, strength training is important, but also mobility is important as well, the joints, right? You know. So anyway, but one of the things that he's working on, and I think it's still out there as well, is that he's pushing for schools to actually have no more chairs, right? No more sitting down. Now they stand up, and they start. I think one school, they're working on others on the benefits of mobility, because even from little kids, you know, they already are being told to actually sit down all day, right? Stay still. And meanwhile, the actual chairs themselves, they're not even really like, they're not even set up to really fit these little bodies, right? They're just more, they're built to actually, you know, so you can actually stack them up in a classroom. And it has to do with a little bit to improve the actual posture of the kids. So I found that really interesting, and you know, I mean, it's going to take years for any substantial changes like that to occur through a system, but you know, he's figured it out, and those kids are much more productive. They get better grades and so on. So there's something there.
Yeah, definitely. Right, I reckon we should probably call it there.
Okay.
We've been going for about an hour.
Yeah.
I could quite happily talk about this all night.
Me too. I like it. No, well, we covered a lot of issues in this session here, so I think definitely a value add.
I will probably not get this up until Thursday now because stitching and stuff, but I've got some free time on Thursday. I'll get that done. So yeah, great. Again, talking, I think we've covered some valuable issues, and I'll looking at ways of improving so that there's maybe a written version of this available, or at least some areas like a time index of where we've talked about different things. That's something we'll bring into this slowly. I need to get my
suggestion right now. A suggestion for you, because everything's fresh in your. I do this as well. I now, whenever I'm saying I'm going to do something in the future about something that I'm doing now. As soon as we end it, I just do it for like half an hour.
You're right. You're right.
So let's see how it goes. This is like a test for you to see.
Well, I can pretty much guarantee it's not going to happen tonight because I'm going to go and play racquetball.
Okay.
But yeah, actually, that's a good point for me to think about. So whilst it's not going to happen tonight, what we should do, and maybe you can remind me of this, is when we schedule a meeting, is to make sure that I schedule the hour after it.
Right. It's 1 hour to actually get it done, and another hour to reflect.
Put that in the diary. Yeah.
Because it should be, as soon as you record it, it goes up.
Yeah. You know? And because as soon as I say something, you're right. If I say I'll do it in the future, it won't get done. I almost guarantee that I've got to the point where I don't want to promise things because I know that I will.
I'm the same way. If I say I'm going to do something, I just write. I already know myself. I'm not for that. I don't even say it anymore because sometimes I don't even believe myself. So exactly. Let's do it right there and then. That you're thinking about it, and then just execute it, and then just move forward with something else.
Sure.
But we'll get better. We'll get better.
Yeah. So it's a work in progress.
Yes.
Excellent. All right. Well, thanks again, Aldo. It's goodbye from him, and it's goodbye from me. This is Free the Hunter. Whether you're ADHD or not, Hunter Type, bringing out the best and understanding so that we can all get along great together and live a better life. All right.
Sounds good. Excellent. I like that.
Speak to you soon. Cheers. All right. Bye.